The red flag will move shortly after the green flag's waved in the background. Watch for the lights in the top left-hand corner of your screen. They'll come on. They'll go off and we're away, and it's a great start from Fermin Aldeguer from the pole position. Got away really well. Alonso Lopez not quite. Is he going to get past into turn one? I don't think he is. It's a comfortable lead then, and whole shot for Fermin Aldeguer as Alonso holds on to second place. How crucial could that be? And it's the two Dynavolt intact boys going into third and fourth, and it's Lukas Tulovic making the best of the start from the middle of the second row, getting
Lopez maintaining their 1-2 off the line.
Yeah, perfect start for Aldeguer. Not so perfect for Alonso, but he kept second place, which was crucial. And yeah, Tulovic looking up the inside at turn 5. You can certainly lose the race on that one. You can't win it. That's the number 13 running wide. That's Matteo Reito from the outside of the second row. So not the best of opening laps for Reito. As Fermin Aldeguer then leads the way up the top of the hill, the highest point on the circuit, and then they'll flick it right and then come back down the spectacular final. And dusted, and it was a classy move from the number 3, who's made a fantastic start. And Aldeguer isn't getting away at this early stage. I know we've only completed a lap, but he got the perfect start. He was out front, clear air. Some may have thought, including us, Lewis, that if he got the perfect start, he would start to run away with it. But Tulovic is doing all he can to stick with him as he backs it into turn 5. That's lovely from the number 3 rider. And it's line astern. The top 5 are all close together here. Fermin Aldeguer leading Lopez, Tulovic, Norridin and Cardelus, with Kubo in 6th. And then there's a little bit of a gap back to Di Masecchi in 7th place.
Yeah, that mistake on that one really cost Matteo Reito. He's down to 9th now. He's down 3 places from his grid position. So
looking up the inside at turn 14, not quite this time. He can see his teammate edging clear now. What can Alonso do then as he gets tucked up, flicks it right, and then coming over the start-finish straight? Can he get into the slipstream? Can he make a move into turn 1? Because as we say, Aldeguer has now stretched out a lead. It'll be interesting to see what that is over the line. As they cross the line from lap 2, his lead is up to over half a second now, Aldeguer. So what can Alonso do down turn 1? He's in the slipstream, he pulls out, and he does exactly the same thing as Tulovic did to him on the previous lap. And Alonso Lopez is now back up to...
He has gone out, and that's already the end of their afternoon.
Yeah, that's a quick one for Di Masecchi-Pratama. So thankfully, he's up and walking away. He'll be back out this afternoon, hopefully, to have another crack at it, as the riders now aim to try and hunt down Fermin Aldeguer. He's not pulled out too much advantage so far in this lap. Sector 2, a couple attempts quicker again. So Alonso isn't quite eating into his lead, but there's a long way to go yet. But these guys need to try and... Oh, and Tulovic is down. Tulovic is down at turn 13. Tucks the front.
Giro's out front. Tulovic has remounted, as you can see, but here's what went wrong for him.
Yeah, so on the anchors into turn 13 at the top of the hill, and yeah, just a classic front end tuck. Just holding on to the brakes a little bit too long, a little bit too quick into the corner. And down he goes. He's back on track, so can Tulovic try and get himself back into the points? I think it's going to be a very difficult task. He's dropped down to P20. We'll see if he can carry on, but yeah, like you say, Lewis, disaster in the championship. He's 3rd. He was 64 points down on Aldeguer coming in the hill.
It is. It's one of those things that you don't quite appreciate until you see it at trackside. It's just an incredible spectacle to watch these motorcycles around a circuit such as this. Now, a couple of riders are going to take long lap penalties very, very shortly. They're not going to impact the action up at the front, but it is worth mentioning. Alessandro Rossetti, who's currently running in 12th position, and Jurol Borbrum, who's currently in 19th, just ahead of Tulovic. They're both going to serve long lap penalties very, very shortly for incorrect generators, essentially, that they use during qualifying.
What's happening here? I think it's just a replay of them going over the crest at
making on a few occasions, as you see him at the top of the screen with a clear lap now following the overtake. He was still in the 46s, a 46.0 again, another half second slower than the battle for second. So you get the impression that Cardelus is subject to any mistakes up ahead of him. 4th is the best he can expect, and Norridin is now going to be the one that we're keeping an eye on to see if he can make a dent on Alonso Lopez up ahead of him.
Yeah, good pace from these two, Lopez and Norridin in 2nd and 3rd. Cardelus just had a few scrappy moments, obviously made that mistake, and it's cost him time as Norridin runs a little bit wide on the run into turn 5, gets it gathered up though and hits the apex. And yeah, like you say, Lewis, this is going to be very interesting. 7.5 laps to go, entering the crucial stage of the race. Will be interesting to see what the tie wear is like, and if Norridin is just... What's the gap up to now? It's up to 4 seconds, so yeah, Aldeguer continuing to set that impressive pace, and unfortunately for teammate Alonso, Lopez just can't quite match it in race 1. We'll go back to the drawing board in race 2. Have a look at where Aldeguer's quicker, maybe where he's slower, and maybe in race 2 he'll come out again fighting. It's still not over though, 6 laps to go. A lot can happen in 6 laps. But yeah, the gap up to 4 seconds, and there's 4 tenths between Norridin, who's keeping tabs on Lopez. So this is going to be very interesting with 5.5 laps to go.
Yeah, Norridin matched Lopez for pace on that last lap. The fact that they're still lapping in the mid-45 shows what a good race they're having. It's not like anything on the level of Aldeguer, but he's, as I mentioned, he's essentially in a different class to the rest of them at the moment, just riding an extraordinary pace. Lopez doing his personal best first sector though on that last lap, which has pulled him a further 3 tenths clear of Norridin. So is this the crucial moment where Lopez is able to finally break the challenge of the Malaysian behind him? Third place would still be an equal vest in this championship for Adam Norridin though, so he would by no means be unhappy if he ended up having to settle for third place. And you do get the feeling if he does sense that Lopez has got a little bit too much for him, whether Norridin will just settle for what he's got.
Yeah, just as a reference, last year's pole time from Yari Monte was a 45.4. So Lopez and Norridin in the 45s is seriously good pace. Unfortunately for them, Aldeguer has just got even better pace. But yeah, Lopez and Norridin doing very well in second and third place. Yeah,
and Aldeguer's fastest lap of this race, a 44.4, was just half a tenth slower than his own pole position yesterday, which again tells you the kind of pace that this young Spaniard is able to set. He is absolutely dominating this first race of the day, and of course the second race to come, and he will feel that he's in a great position to cash in and take another maximum haul of points. Lopez, of course, will have other ideas, and again later on today, if this race does finish the way it's currently running, again Lopez will be thinking he's got to try and make the start, because Aldeguer absolutely nailed the start of this race earlier on. Here is the battle for second then. It's still 4 tenths of a second. Once again, Norridin able to essentially match Lopez. It's interesting when you look at the sector times of these two. Lopez always seems to be much faster in the first sector of the lap, but then Norridin claims it all back in the final sector of the lap, pulling back that entire 3 tenths of a second. So it seems to be toing and froing between the two. Just as Lopez appears to be stretching that out, Norridin just pulls him back in again. And with 5 laps to go, there's certainly no margin for error for Lopez. One mistake and second place will disappear.
Here is the battle then for 8th. That's Alex Toledo, who finished second in the 2020 Superstock 600, 18 points behind Fermin Aldeguer. Had a good battle actually with Aldeguer last year in the Superstock class. And he's got the number 32 of Paz for company, as well as Ishizuka just there in 11th place. So a nice little battle here for the lower ends of the top 10. Sorry, Eskrig is the number 11 and Paz is the number 32. Paz has passed Eskrig, obviously. There's the number 11 of Alex Toledo, the Superstock 600 leader. He's won every race in that class so far. To watch them come over hill, and I've just seen there actually, I did thought that a couple of corners ago, I think the number 55 of Alex Toledo, yeah, there it is, his fairing's just hanging off there, so I'm not sure what's happened, but hopefully that doesn't cause too many issues. I hope it doesn't suddenly fly off into the path of the number 32 or Alex Toledo.
It's certainly not going to help him down the straights, is it? With that sticking out on the straights as he tries to make himself as aerodynamic as possible. But it'll be interesting if the stewards take a look at that. I mean, it looks as if it's hanging on at the moment. But if that becomes any more loose, then you wouldn't be surprised if he gets a black and orange flag for that with that 55. It's as I say, it's okay at the moment. But the last thing you want is that flying off down the main straight and producing a real hazard at top speed down the straight. Let's see what happens now as he comes on the straight, because there'll be a lot of buffeting now as he comes down the straight with that. He's going to lose the place now as Paz just breezes past him. It's certainly not helping Toledo, as it's essentially he's got an extra wing on, hasn't he, as it's sticking out on his on the left hand side, the rider's left of that bike. It's really hanging loose, and the concern that he'll have as well is when he tips it in on the left-handers, that's going to be really scraping along the floor and doing potential damage. So yeah, the stewards will be getting a little bit fidgety looking at that.
Yeah, they've got to keep a close eye on that, haven't they? Because, like we say, the last thing that anyone needs on track is for a piece of the fairing to come off into the road as the number 32 runs wide down the hill onto the green, and that allows Alex Toledo to move through as well. Wait, what's happened with the timing screens here? I'm confused, Lewis. What's just happened to the timing screen?
Not sure at the moment, but as I say, we'll keep an eye on that. Aldeguer, we can confirm, is still comfortably out in front, with Lopez still with a half-second lead over Noureddin. As I say, we'll keep a close eye on chase down Toledo and Escrig, who've now passed him into 8th and 9th positions respectively. 3 to go then. Aldeguer, who's still setting personal best sector times at the moment, is dominant as he's been. His lead is just shy of 5 seconds. Lopez and Noureddin still separated by just under half a second, but time running out for Noureddin, as that is the end of one of the VR46 Master Camp riders, and Kenneth Kubo. Isn't that just the story of his season? When he sees the checkered flag, he's generally somewhere near the podium, but seeing the checkered flag is proving rather difficult.
What happened then down into turn 5? The tricky left-hander sucks you in. He's slightly wide there, isn't he, on the dirty part of the track, and the front just says, no, I'm not having it anymore, and down he goes. Thankfully he's up and okay, but yeah, another DNF for Kubo.
And that corner hasn't been kind to the VR46 Master Camp team, has it, over the last 2 minutes? We've already seen Paz run straight on there. Of course, that will promote him back into the 9th position that he had before he went straight on. But yeah, he's now, of course, the sole VR46 Master Camp team rider running with Kubo out of contention. Aldeguer then out of the final corner, just 2 laps.
As Lopez comfortably rounds the tricky turn 5, we've seen a couple of riders make mistakes there. No such issues for Aldeguer as the team watch on intently, hoping their man can complete the final lap without any issues. Will rise over the hill for the last time this morning. Of course, they'll go again this afternoon for race 2. Aldeguer down the hill through the left-hander nice and cleanly. He's got a comfortable 4.9 second lead to play with, so he can just ease it
behind them. So Tulovic clearly got some decent pace, but not enough to get himself into the points.
Here he is then, Fermin Aldeguer rounds the final corner here in race 1 in Portimao. He'll rise over the crest of the hill and win his 6th race in a row in 2021. Another masterclass from the number 54. The team celebrates another 1-2 as Alonso.
One up from his qualifying position, and Sam Wilford does come across the line in 6th position for his best result as a CEV Moto2 European Championship rider.
Another outstanding ride from Aldeguer, and as we see the lower ends of the top 10 come across the line. The number 32 of Paz did eventually get the better of Toledo and Escrig, so a good recovery there from his turn 5 running wide incident from Paz, and he claimed 7th place. A good result then in the end for the VR46 Master Camp rider. There's the winner of the Super Stock 600 race once again.